Hey guys, it's Jet888 here. It's September 9th today. That's 9/9/2023. So he and Attorney General Ann Lopez were talking about ongoing investigations. This was September 8th, 2023, regarding the Maui fires. What's with the band-aids there? I don't know, Josh. But anyhow, one more thing I wanted to kind of curious about. So here's a quick article about Josh Green. This was written on June 2nd, 2023. June 2nd. He's signing a thing for gun control legislation in Honolulu as these two kids, 10 and 7 years old, look on, that allows people for concealed carry firearms, but at the same time prohibits people from taking guns to a wide range of places, including beaches, hospitals, stadiums, bars that serve alcohol, and movie theaters. So basically, hardly anywhere. Just reading a little bit from this, it says, Green, who is a physician by training and has been an emergency room doctor in Hawaii for decades, said gun violence is a public health crisis and action needs to be taken to address it. Action needs to be taken to address it. So on June 20th, here's the Department of Attorney General, Josh Green, MD, Governor, and Ann E. Lopez, Attorney General. These two, and I'll leave the link to this, so I'm not going to read the whole thing. But the last couple paragraphs, it says, firearm registration activity increased dramatically over the course of the 23 years for which these dates have been systematically compiled and reported. Comparing the year 2000 to the year 2022, the number of statewide permit applications annually processed increased by 237.2%. The number of firearms annually registered climbed 281%, and the number of firearms annually imported leapt by 313.8%. And here's Josh Green on June 2nd, 2023, saying that gun violence. So I just need to make a quick comment and observation here. This is weird to me how he has this band-aid on his thumb. He had one yesterday also, which was September 8th. So that's just a weird thing. It's there's a lot of symbolism behind that. And these children who are overseeing him signing this gun control thing, they've got these little stars, which are literally like upside down Baphomet heads. Those are what those are. If you wanted to really see a star, this says here too, stars are seen as a symbolism of divinity, or even as representations of angels that have been cast out of heaven. And the way you see stars so often, and you know who's running this world, this is what I'm thinking. And why do you need children in an adult topic? Seriously, with a little octopus on her forehead, give me a break. They're using the children. And by the way, where are those 2,000 children, Josh Green? Saying that gun violence is a public health crisis and action needs to be taken to address it. So here's your graph of the year 2000. The permits that were allowed. You have issued permits, 128. That's 94.4% of issued permits. And up here, rejected permits is 118 rejected permits, and voided permits. That's people who got the permits, qualified, but never went to pick it up. So that's 3.7%. So look at the rejected permits. That's 118. That's 1.8% of this total in 2000. And we look at the 2021, there are 23,299 applications processed, and here they denied 599 That's 2.6% of the applications were denied in 2021 versus 118 applications rejected in the year 2000. And I'll leave you this PDF also. So here, the applications that were approved, I don't know what's wrong with my phone, but were avoided was 307, that's 1.3%. And the applications in 2000 that were avoided were 243, that's 3.7%. So those were higher percentage-wise. Here's 2021. So here in the year 2000, you have 6,128 issued permits that went through. In 2021, you've got 22,393 applications approved, permits issued. So do you think that maybe the government is just becoming afraid of the people, that they're armed? On this July 1st, 2023 article, it says, lawsuit by 3 Maui residents challenges a new gun ban on state beaches, other public places. This says, the High Court's ruling found that people in the U.S. have a right to carry firearms for self-defense. It prompted the state to retool its gun laws, with Democratic Governor Josh Green signing legislation in early June to allow more people to carry concealed firearms, but yet he also blocked where they can carry it. And this says, at the same time, however, the new law prohibits people from taking guns to a wide range of places, and I read that, including beaches, hospitals, stadiums, bars, and movie theaters. Private businesses allowing guns must post a sign to that effect. So there were lawsuits from 3 residents in Hawaii that filed in U.S. District Court in Honolulu last week. It doesn't challenge all the prohibited locations, but bans on carrying at beaches and parks and family residences or in bank parking lots where people might be getting cash from ATMs, which is funny because yet they'll let you wear a mask to cover your face in banks. Isn't that funny? For the last 3 years. And this is interesting too, and I'll tell you about this later, maybe. Alan Beck, an attorney for the plaintiffs, said his clients especially want to protect themselves at isolated beaches where they might be fishing or going for a walk or, say, sunbathing or swimming. So anyhow, that name kind of hit funny to me. But I'll get to that in a sec, because so I looked at the difference, the date from June 20th to August 8th, which is the day of the fire, and the difference of days between that is 49 days, or 7 weeks, or 1 month and 19 days passed between June 20th, when the Department of Attorney General released the statistics for firearms. And I think it's funny because the statewide permits and applications increased by 237%. That's crazy. And the number of firearms annually imported leapt by 313.8%. So perhaps the government was afraid that the people actually had a lot of firearms, and maybe that's why these fires happened. And going back to that Beck name, I think this is funny because this author who wrote the book, The Well of Hell, his name is Greg Beck. Here's his book cover. Look at that. And then if you look at the Maui fires, I think that's strange. It kind of looks alike, don't you think? And I just think that the Well of Hell was kind of significant because with the fires, you know, they turned off all the water so that people couldn't extinguish their fires. And then one more thing that I thought was strange about the Well of Hell, this book, the title, when looking at the Hawaiian Islands and especially Maui, and I'm trying to work on a video right now that I'm having a really hard time getting out regarding Redhill, but Maui, and there's your Lahaina. When I zoom into this, here's the Lahaina bypass, and here's that This is Kahoma Stream Bridge. See, so it's kind of green and the water dumps into here. But when we follow this and then head a little bit north of it, I've noticed there's a weird, very strange, dark, kind of blocked out dark, but this is a burnt area. And you come in really close here, and there's what looks to be like a well. And I think that's interesting, and my next video is going to go into the boring company and the Redhill tunnels, both in Honolulu and here at Maui. So that's weird, because I was kind of wondering, like, these children are still unaccounted for. But anyhow, this was weird to me, and it looks like the lid is off a huge well, and this is a huge, I mean, a car can go through here, so that gives you some perspective on the size. Anyhow, there's way more in my video out that I'm going to follow after this that I'm having a tough time getting out. It's going to talk about these tunnels, but the Well of Hell from Greg Beck, and here's your Maui. I just think that has a really similar look to it. Okay, for now though, that Maui fire just happened to occur on August 8th, and which is 8/8, and that's just simply 49 days, or 1 month and 19 days, or 7 weeks after these guys, Josh Green and Attorney General Ann Lopez, recognized that their applications had gone way up, and there's a lot more gun owners on Maui. So looking a little bit more at the Well of Hell and how this looks so similar to some of the shots that were taken from the Maui fire. When I look at the words, the Well of Hell, I look at the gematria for that. The Well of Hell here, it's the numerology is 1167. That's the number I'm going to look at, the Jewish gematria. They both equal 1167. So I thought that was sort of interesting. And so as they sift through all this rubble and all that white ash, this man here, Steve Kellenog, he's also the one that covered the Paradise fires. I looked at his anagram, and it's scavenge lot, maybe spelled without the E there, but, and here these workers are scavenging through the lots without a speck of dust or dirt on them. I think that's interesting, because usually if you deal with charred remains or fire or something, you'd have some kind of mark on you, wouldn't you? Some kind of dirt. They seem to be pretty pristine clean though, and as they spray whatever toxins that they're spraying, perfectly clean uniforms, while all the burnt remains in the background just happen to leave a little corn husk uncharred, untouched. Yep, so as they go through these homes, they're putting these check marks on them, basically saying that they're no longer, or they've been looked for, the property's been searched for hazardous waste and it's been removal, but there's your green check mark by the EPA looking for the ash and other materials remain a health hazard, they tell you. So there's your check mark, complete. And now what they want to do is they want to come in with this stuff called soil tack, and they want to spray this all over the properties. And soil tack, it gives it kind of like a glue, the dirt. It keeps the dirt and ashes from blowing around. But I looked up the word soil tack. Here's the numerology, 273. And 273 also happens to be complete. Like the little signs that they can put on the houses that they don't let the residents go to. So there's your complete. And the word complete is also pretty close to the numerology of 4 green. 4 green. Here's Green. Here's Josh Green, Governor Josh Green, who wanted to do something about those guns that seemed like a lot of metal melted in the fire. And you know this sign talking about complete, that they've completed their inspection, and they talk about ash and other materials remain a health hazard. But here's your check mark. And I was always kind of wondering what that check mark on David Bowie's forehead was. And this is part of his song Ashes to Ashes, where he's got the check mark. And you just look at that, the upside down check mark for the completed inspected houses. And when you are looking at David Bowie's song about Ashes to Ashes, they zero in on this. You've got these two columns to the right, but it's like this person sitting in front of this little bonfire. Let me see if I can find that. So here's his song, Ashes to Ashes, and here they zoom in and look at the smoke coming from that little fire. And that's like that guy was like a black cat. I love the Joker clown outfit he's wearing too. But anyhow, that little check mark on his forehead is sort of interesting. And a little character sitting right there wearing a black hat. And David Bowie, just by chance looking at his anagram, his name just happens to be Avid Biodo. And avid is having an eager desire for. And Bowie, as in David Bowie, reminds me of the Boeing Company. So you got the Boeing Company, which is also invasion and mRNA vaccine, and satellite, among other things, which also sounds like the Boring Company. And the Boring Company at 885 there also has the same numerology as Josh Green. So it's just sort of weird to me. And we have that soil tack that's going to supposedly cover up all the soil, so it doesn't blow around and the ashes don't get all over. But there's your soil tack. And they are talking about this material to be applied in Maui to burn zone to stop contaminated runoff. And they talk about soil tack. Yeah, they say it's biodegradable and non-toxic, but where have we heard that before? It says Lahaina, with more of the burn zone searched each day, the charred black earth and ash will soon turn pink. There's their pink again. Pink as water-based glue is applied to prevent winds and rain from kicking it up and running off into the ocean. And it's funny because they were also going to use the color pink. And this guy, his name is Kevin Galt, not John, like who's John Galt, but Kevin Galt. He was saying that they were going to, when they mark the houses, they're going to mark with pink to mark if there is like asbestos or something like that. But they're going to make this soil tack end up drying pink also. That's sort of weird to me, pink. Okay, so here's your pink is 119, and the time between June 20th and August 8th is 1 month and 19 days, so 119 equals pink. But the numerology for soil tack is also murdered diamonds. I think Elon Musk's family has a diamond mine too, don't they? Green peace and words. And also agent for change, but it's all for green. Oh yeah, and also this is the anagram for climate change. One of them is the magic clean, as they check your house as being completed after they have gone through your household property and removed all your hazardous waste. But it's also, climate change is also get mechanical and technical game, as in probably increasing that whole smart city kind of thing, regridding the whole city. And soil tack, the anagram is also AI clots. Anyhow, I hope his little yellow fingers heal. Oh, and just one more thing as they sift through all the ashes. and they talk about their canines that are always working so hard. So canines is cane sin, and sugar cane is carnage us. And I only bring that up because they locked the gates to so people couldn't get out, and it was the sugarcane fields, the people that own them now, that were locking the gates. And I find that kind of interesting because here on the map, let me get over to Maui here. When we look here, closer to where the fire damage was, here's what looks to be like the top of a well. It looks like the lid is off, it's just what it looks like, but I'm sure it's from the shadowing. But this is actually pretty short. This does not have a lot of height to this, but it makes it look like the lid is off of this, but it's a well. I just thought that was sort of strange. But if we go over here, this is all the burnt area. And when we look right a little bit closer here, look, this is the fire station, the district court. They didn't get touched. Isn't that interesting how protected they were? But if I drop this cursor, I'm going to drop this little guy right here. See this? Now this is September 2011. The gates were open. Here's the fire station right here. This is their parking lot, but this is the fire station. None of that got burnt. But look how the gate is open to these roads where they were locked for other people who couldn't get out. And this happens to be the sugarcane train that I'm trying to do a video on right now. But this is the sugarcane train rail right here, which they have put all this fencing that people cannot see past the burn area. See how this train track runs through here? See that? There it is again. We're looking south, there's west. There's a Lahaina Comprehensive Health Center and the police department. This is what's being blocked off. But I'm going to talk also about the guy that ran for Senate. His name is Angus McKelvey, I think, or let me go see. Yes, so it was Angus McKelvey whose family built the sugarcane train. This is his father, A.W. McKelvey. He had something to do with that, but he was also in trouble, and I've got a video going on this, but he was in trouble for not reporting funds and misappropriating, really, like letting his mother spend the money, like $30,000, but he got it from the pesticide companies. So is it this pesticide? I'm gonna have to go look at that again. It's funny because sugarcane comes up for 27 as master plan, and he was working with the high-tech companies, like he was trying to make the smart city. I have a video that I'm going to show and share about that, but he was all into the high-tech stuff. And the word sugar also, I'm going to cover this in another video. Sugar is also corona, same numerology. Sugar and corona are the same. And sugarcane train, if you look at the anagram, it's Eaton Car Gas Urn. But Angus also covered in December 2022, he also covered fires. It looks to me like they were trying to do this back in 2022, but it didn't go off well enough. So they had to try again August 8th. But here, Angus McKelvey, State of Hawaii Legislature. Let's see, it says State Representative Mac McKelvey built the sugarcane train. That's this guy's father. And helped to develop Kanapali Resort Area. Economic revitalization. But he does have an involvement with that sugarcane train, and I find it just interesting that those tracks is where they laid the FEMA fence that keeps the public out. There's the post office. And here's the Lahaina Civic Center that did not get burnt. That whole area was safe. But yet they laid this whole fence so now people cannot see. And they laid rocks like that to block access also, just for your information. And I thought it was sort of interesting that he looks a little like Seth Rogen, who did the Pineapple Express, and I'm going to cover that later also. Love the Hawaiian outfit there, huh? Oh, and he's got the horse there. Which horse is Messiah? And one quick little note regarding sugar and the word corona having the same numerology. So one thing too that I think is kind of interesting, they have this, it's called, what is it, EIO, I think is how you pronounce this. And it's a needle shaped thing. Let me show you some more pictures of it. This is the look of it. I'll find another angle. So it's pronounced like EO, but it's called EO Valley, like EIEIO. So it's in West Maui. And what's interesting to me is they call it the needle. The needle is a sharp ridge that gives the appearance of being a spire when viewed end on. So I'm going to jump a little bit and talk about the white ash, because the needle was kind of like, reminds me of Corona, and it just seems sort of ritualistic to me, so they can kick off their next little pandemic. But when I look at white ash, it's also heat wish, as in like maybe hell, like that Greg Beck's book, The Well of Hell. And the anagram too, white ash is his wheat, and that's what it reminds me of when I think of his wheat, the UN. And when I look at United Nations, the anagram is UN destination, and destination is the ultimate purpose for which something is created or intended. And all those fires are so they can do a land grab, get rid of people's guns perhaps, melt them. Then they can rebuild their little smart city. But the fencing that's being put up along the railroad tracks here and keeping all the public out from seeing, and how they're having all those proclamations to make it so people cannot stop their cars to look or videotape, they have surrounded this whole area, and this fencing just sort of reminds me, it's a $3 million fence. Instead of giving it to the people, you're only giving them $700 each. You're putting up this big fence, and sorry I don't have better pictures of it. So some of this is, I'm thinking, what is behind the fencing that they refuse to let other people look through? But it reminds me of this, because right here in the middle, here's another picture. This is their burnt offerings here. And you know what this reminds me of? The Tabernacle. First, let me share the anagram. Tabernacle is like intercabal. It reminds me of this. This is the tabernacle. You know this big, the box? Have you seen that before? Here's a picture of it. So I'm going to show you a little bit closer. We're going to go inside of this. So this is called the kabah. It's like a big black box that is being surrounded. And they've got these spires here. From inside, they've got this green camera or clock tower. It sort of reminds me of the Cube, the movie. There's a movie called The Cube. So looking this up, I can't even pronounce that, but Templevm, TEMPLVM, Meccan MV or VM. And look what happens when I look at that. But anyhow, I just thought that the fencing that they had regarding a tabernacle. So this is in Egypt, right along Jordan here. But look at that. You got your beer aura. I don't know how you say that. But there's Israel, and there's Egypt, and so we're in Israel. And here's that little fence, and here's your burnt offerings, but I just look at it as a box. Look, I wonder if they can walk their animals up the ramp or something, but there's your box. That's a horn on the end of that box, the corner, for burnt offerings. But the box. And look at all the cranes and all the rebuilding going on. Anyhow, I wanted to show you something. So you know how the anagram tabernacle is interkabal. And I looked at the gematria for that. There's your numerology. 1257, 1044, and 174. 1044 and 174. It's trust the plan and new world order. And when I looked at the anagrams for that, I've showed this word before. A storm is coming. There's your 77. They love their sevens. Oh, and look at that when you go to the United Nations. It has here an article, when the noise of guns silences education. There you go, Josh Green. And you have your little trains there. Anyhow, I just sort of wonder what they're doing, blocking out all the people, hiding people. We've got this black box that, who knows, their little burnt offerings go into. I don't know. The tabernacle just reminded me of that fencing. It just seems like it fits really easily into their little agenda. Oh yeah, too, tabernacle at 257 is also the force, and ritual is also part of their numerology. But they're doing a lot of building here. A lot of building here in the Mecca. Saudi Arabia, the Mecca, with their clock tower and stuff. I just find it sort of interesting. And they're going to obviously be rebuilding Lahaina. But what is in that black box? So one more thing. Telecom carriers' quick response to the tragic Maui wildfires here. This is August 16th, 2023. So of course they have the solution for you. It's called the Hegelian dialectic. They cause the problem, they control the response, and then they come up with the solution. So there's your pink, and they're all coming to help you. Community support. So here you go. Additionally, T-Mobile's community support team is in Oahu to support evacuees and emergency response personnel in Maui. Earlier, T-Mobile also used a cow, and VSAT deployed by its emergency management teams to get temporary network up and running as soon as possible, because you need to be connected, because how else are they going to track you? So here, this is a cell site thing, service wherever you want it. And when I looked at the anagram for service wherever you want it, it's witcheries, a voyeur went, a voyeur, like they're in camera. You know, in camera, American is in camera. We're being watched everywhere. And services where you want it. It's also witches vow in your eatery. And I'm telling you, wherever you look, there's usually some kind of food innuendo in it. But inure is come into operation or take effect. And inure is also accustom someone to something. So accustomed to something, especially something unpleasant. These children have been inured to violence, right? So where are those 2,000 children? They always show you, no matter how unpleasant it might seem, they're always showing you. So this article states, a cow is a mobile cell site product that includes a tower and a transceiver, as well as all other necessary equipment, carefully constructed on a trailer or truck. Unlike standard towers, cows are highly portable. So why do they even need satellites? But anyhow, that's another story. Yeah, cows are highly portable. And remember old Angus McKelvey? Angus McKelvey's name is My UN Keg Calves. Keg as in beer, as in Corona. Here's the Angus beef chart. Remember, your cell phones have a frequency to them, and if it can receive something, it can also send out something, so you can be tracked and targeted, just to let you know. But anyhow, cow, the mobile cell site. The cows are highly portable. They're all waiting for the train. That's right, don't be one of them. Anyhow, they kind of refer to this also as sail on wheels. Sail on wheels. Have you heard that saying, hell on wheels? Here's your sail on wheels anagram. It's Elon Welch's. And here's your word welch, to avoid doing something you have promised to do. And here's the Boring Company with the tunnels. I just got the word flamethrower up there and burnt hair. Burnt hair. Yep, here's the Boring Company. I don't know what the flamethrower has to do with tunnels, but the better question is, what does it have to do with burnt hair? Is that strange? Seeing that the Boring Company also is Josh Green in the gematria. See, you have the word the Boring Company here along with vampire. Here's Josh Green. Just find it interesting. But if that isn't disturbing enough, his little web page here, the Boring Company, under burnt hair. Burnt hair, singed. And you follow that down, it says the essence of repugnant desire. Another word, repugnant, extremely distasteful, unacceptable, in conflict with, incompatible with. Isn't that disturbing? It's somewhat satanic. Anyhow, and the fact that he wants to drill doing his Boring Company on Oahu, who knows where else he's been doing it, but anyhow, talk about they're all in it together.